Good morning. Welcome to the Unintangibles Fantasy Football Show. It is the first day after the big Sunday of week one. I'm your co-host, Jeff Shuela. I'm here to welcome in my other co-host. Good morning, Mo Aurora. How are you today?
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, everybody. I'm good. I'm tired. I stayed up late watching Green Bay, Chicago, which is a great game. But I'm glad I don't have to be anywhere on a Monday morning, but it's a Monday morning and I'm feeling like it. So,
Did you drink anything yesterday? Any alcohol consumption?
No, I didn't actually. No, I was trying to be productive around the house all day. So I didn't, I was never really like sitting back and cracking a beer open. It was more just like meal prepping and doing dishes and stuff while watching football.
So like you don't feel hungover from all the watching?
I do feel hungover. It's just I realize it's not from alcohol; it's from football. I imbibed in a little bit too much football yesterday.
Yeah. I'm spent, man. I definitely overdosed. I OD'd in week one, definitely.
What'd you like? What did you not like? Let's talk about.
I mean, there's so much we could start with. I guess one quick little issue I had yesterday, which I didn't mention to you. I wanted to get your fresh take right off the top here. So I joined an FFPC league this year, which is Fantasy Football Players Championship. And, we had a good draft. Everything is good. And then I realized I had, taken a screenshot of who my opponent was last week so I can just check out his, the players that he has. On Sunday, and just to monitor that. And then I realized that my scheduled opponent had changed.
Oh.
At like sometime between 4 p.m. Eastern on Thursday and the beginning of kickoff of the Eagles. Which I kind of think, I guess it's not a huge deal in the end because my players are going to put up my score, but I kind of thought that wasn't cool because I'd like to know who my opponent is and just to see what's happening.
Yeah, what did you get an explanation for what happened? Like, did the schedule just change?
I sent 2 emails in just to say, look, like it's fine and everything, but I'm just letting you know that my opponent changed and what maybe like the schedule hadn't been set up yet. Like if you can just get an explanation, and no email, no reply. And
that's not cool.
That could affect me. I mean, my team stunk, and we'll get into that, but that could actually affect my outcome in this first week. That could mean a win or a loss. So,
well, okay, but I mean, I think you're right though that your team would have put up its score anyway.
Yeah,
but I just think if you're in a sort of high stakes fantasy league, it should all be above board, and that seems kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
But whatever. That's just for me to be a prudent and nag. Don't worry about that. But
I'm going to send another email today. I know that you can't change anything, and I realize that, but I wouldn't mind some sort of human reach out on their end.
Yeah, just an explanation for what happened. I'm sure there is an explanation. You just like to know it, right?
I have the proof. I have the screenshot of my old opponent, and I still have 3 players going tonight, including my quarterback.
Yeah.
So there is a chance that I could have come back against this original opponent. So anyways, that's just my one little beef. But
it's probably one of those things where it's like when you saw it, it was just like 12 teams had been put in the league, but then before the start of the season, they actually just like randomized the schedule, and it was different than what you saw, probably.
Yeah, so I looked at my opponent yesterday thinking it was the original, and they're like, no, the Philly defense and Nelson Aguilar, they both didn't really have great games. So I was like, okay, I can live with this. I guess my new opponent, but yeah. On paper, I would have preferred the other opponent, just straight up, previous to everything. So,
yeah, but let me ask you: do you set your lineup with your opponent's lineup in mind?
No, not at all. Not at all.
So it didn't ultimately affect you. It just
no, you're right.
Yeah, one of those things where that's the flaw of head-to-head, which is like somebody else is going to win with a lower score than you lose with, but it happens.
Yeah,
yeah. But, I mean, by that logic, the New Orleans Saints would have beaten a lot of teams in the NFL yesterday, but they were playing Tampa. They had to beat Tampa. They didn't.
Two quick observations before I want to get your first take is that I'm in 3 leagues, and it's too many. It's all together.
It's tough. Yeah. I'm having a hard time with 3.
I'm playing. I have these players, but I'm playing against these. There's too much crossover in 3. Mm-hmm. And observation number 2 is that I don't like PPR. already.
Oh, really?
One weekend, I'm not a PPR guy because I mean, two guys that didn't do great yesterday were Josh Gordon and Chris Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
They're both really standard players, standard scoring players, and I'd rather have those dudes than. I'm not that Jarvis Landry had a great game. He deserves to be rostered in a standard league, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll try and find another example. But I'm kind of frustrated with PPR already. Like it's a whole.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing in a PPR league for the first time this year, and that's fine. It's my third of 3 leagues as far as like attachment to them. But yeah, I don't. If 2 wide receivers get 100 yards, one of them does it in 3 catches, one of them does it in 10 catches. I don't think that the guy who did it in 10 catches had a better game. I don't think what he did was more impressive. I don't think what he did was more valuable. I think the 100 yards is 100 yards. However you get it, that's however you get it. That's what counts. And so PPR makes a lot of mediocre guys seem better. And then it's like my argument with the NHL standings. If there's so many points available, then all it does is allow every team to become mediocre but still competitive. It sucks for that reason.
Yeah.
I'm not against. I don't want to like take away opportunities to give points in fantasy football. I just think this makes sense. That's why I think instead of so I play in a league with yardage bonuses, and I really like it, right? But the way our bonuses are set up right now, it's 3 points for 100 yards rushing or 100 yards receiving, or 300 yards passing, right? I think we should just turn rushing and receiving yards into scrimmage yards. I think guys who catch and run their way to 100 combined yards should get a bonus. I feel like that rewards our running backs with PPR skill sets who catch the ball as much as they run it. But it still rewards the guys who don't catch the ball but just run. And it's just like 100 yards is 100 yards. Who cares how you get it? They're literal style points. And I don't want to award style points. That's so stupid. Yeah. I hate the idea of awarding style points. PPR sucks.
Yeah, I really like your point there, man. I think the combined scrimmage yards, once you're past 100, yeah, I really like that, man. It should reward, a variety of different ways you got the 100 yards. So.
It even helps out the odd receiver that runs an end around here and there, and it's like he might get 88 yards receiving, but then a 22-yard run. I think that guy, he got over 100 yards. He should get a bonus.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Chris Thompson's a good example. That guy had a game yesterday. He did a little bit on the ground, and he did some in the air. Mm-hmm. I mean, he did score a touchdown, and you were definitely rewarded if you started him. If you're in a standard league, though, you probably got I don't say significantly less points, but you definitely got less because I think he combined for over 100. But be 15.
That should be rewarded. That should be. Forget rushing and receiving yards. They should just make it yards from scrimmage.
Yeah. No, I like it.
CFL, man. CFL football. Who cares how you do it? Just do it.
So which is the first game or player or situation you want to talk about today?
Well, first I wanna take a little bit of pride in how good Kansas City and specifically Patrick Mahomes looked. It was just good to see. And not everybody like really cashed in Kansas City. Hunt had a quiet day. Watkins had a quiet day. Kelsey had a quiet day. But they're going to be like that. I don't think that was like an above average game for Kansas City. I thought that was just Mahomes and Hill were great. But there are going to be days where all of them are clicking. All of them are good. And all of them have a chance. And I feel like I'm really optimistic about Kansas City's offense.
Yeah, I like Mahomes' swagger. I like his arm. I mean, he definitely talks the talk a little bit. Apparently, I forgot what he was saying in preseason, but I don't think he's like shy or anything.
No, he's a confident guy. I don't know if he talks the talk. I think he answers questions confidently when you put a microphone in his face. But I didn't see him having an attitude on the field. And I don't mean attitude in a bad way, right? But you know what I mean? Like the way Cam Newton is confident on the field. Like Pat Mahomes I didn't see him doing that. I didn't see him talking to anybody. He was just he doesn't have unearned confidence from thinking that he's capable of things that you only get capable by experience. That was a very clunky sentence. I'm sorry. But he doesn't have unearned confidence in those ways in which he's inexperienced. He just has extreme but very accurate confidence in his ability to do certain things that nobody else can. I feel like when he's throwing the ball, he knows that it's him throwing the ball, and he knows what that means more than anyone else. You know what I mean? And it's like, I think Andy Reid has put him in a good situation. I feel like,
yeah, he's got gusto, man. He's got gusto, and I was watching bits and pieces of that game because I was watching the Red Zone channel, and everything is just launched. Everything he throws is just like all the way down the field.
Yeah, because he's not trying to be like, he's not trying to be good enough. You know what I mean? Like, there are guys out there, you know, like Case Keenum is a great example. Like, he can be really effective, but he can be really effective by being good enough and by like not being too bad. That, you know, and like Mahomes, and like I feel like the league is allowing. We talk about like there's a lot of mediocrity out there, man. PPR creates it in fantasy leagues. I think in the NFL, there's a lot of room for mediocrity, and it's like there's a lot of people are mediocre out there. And I think we're at a time where you got to look for greatness, and you only find greatness in people that want to be great. And I feel like Patrick Mahomes knows he has the potential to be great that Case Keenum does not have. And I feel like if Patrick Mahomes has the head for it, like if he's just like, no, I'm up for this. Like, I know what it takes and I want to do it because I think I can do it. And it's like, I think Andy Reid is a great coach or a guy like that to be playing under. And I think, I'm optimistic about it, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm not worried about them at all. I'm pretty sure Watkins owners should feel good about that performance. Performance.
He made a great catch. Like the one noteworthy one that he did. But Hill was amazing.
Amazing.
You know? And people were wondering if Hill's a wide receiver one. And I'm like, oh God, he's the best player on the field most of the time. Like, he's amazing, right? But it's like at some point, like in week 2 even, someone's gonna be like, man, Hill alone can beat us. Let's really, really pay a lot of attention to Hill. And then all of a sudden Watkins and Kelsey are there. It's like, there's nothing you can do.
That'd be great.
They're all gonna get theirs. That's the best part, man.
Speaking of players who had one catch yesterday, a nice, great catch was your bestie, your BFF, Josh Gordon.
Yeah.
Gordon-esque touchdown, basically fighting off his man in the end zone and keeping his feet in, probably on a slippery field. Just made a great catch, great touchdown.
Yeah.
Great
to see. It was funny that Cleveland-Pittsburgh game, because you had a lot of people had a lot of high hopes for Gordon. There's a lot of people that are wondering what's going on without Bell. There's a lot of people that I was talking about it, man. I think Cleveland could upset Pittsburgh and like set a bunch of dominoes, knock them all over. And then what we ended up getting was like this like total stalemate of a result that leaves everybody sort of suspended because it's like Gordon was limited, but then he got on the field and he was one catch with a touchdown. And you're like, I think the people that started him would have been happy with 17 yards and a touchdown. Not happy, but like, okay, fine. It could have been worse. And then the people who didn't start him, it's like, well, I didn't start Gordon in week 1 in a couple places. I could have used those 7 points, as it turns out. But like, I'm also not kicking myself for not starting him, and like people in Pittsburgh, James Conner is great, but that doesn't change the fact that some people who acquired James Conner might have overpaid to get him. And that doesn't change the fact that Le'Veon Bell in that spot might be better, right? Like we're all just suspended in midair right now.
So does Le'Veon need to report quickly now? Is he feeling a little bit of pressure because Connor had a great game? Do you think Le'Veon's going to show up this week?
He might show up this week. I don't think he feels any more pressure to report with Connor in there because I bet you Bell's thinking, sure, fine. It's a good team. It's a good offense built around me. And somebody else can step in and do it. Great. But like, go ahead, James Conner. Let's see if you can do it all year. The way I've done it for 4 years, go ahead. It's a calculated risk, but it's a risk worth taking. I'm not an NFL player or an agent. There are so many factors that are beyond my control about this. Like, I don't know what I would do in this situation, but like, it's also because I'm not in this situation, So
I guess sticking with the AFC West, I know the Seahawks defense kind of is trash now, but I like Case Keenum, man. I like the Broncos, but although if you're a Royce Freeman owner, you got to be wondering who the fuck is Philip Lindsay.
I didn't realize we were dropping F-bombs on the show, but okay. That's how concerned you are about Royce Freeman and Philip Lindsay.
I get one F-bomb per episode, basically.
All right, it's PG-13.
Right? I'm doing it on behalf of Freeman owners who are trying to wonder what the hell happened there. Because that was that was a real committee yesterday, and no one considered Philip Lindsay in the committee. So
that's true. That's a surprise. I think. Okay, so it turns out it's going to be a 3-back committee instead of 2, or maybe it's just like it's Lindsay and not Booker. You need to worry about. I don't know, but look, if you invested in Freeman, that's not a bad investment just because he didn't stand out in week 1. But you could not have the expectation that he was necessarily going to look like a starter in week 1. You know, if you invest in a rookie running back to be in your starting lineup, you're gonna have to live with a couple weeks of growing pains. Like, you don't know, man. Most of these guys are just 22-year-olds. Like, it's their first day on a new job. You have to treat them that way. Most of them are not standouts who just hit the field. They're in great positions. They're great players. They're way too mature for their years. Like, most players are not that. Most players, they're talented, but they need to grow into the job. So you got to manage your expectations with these guys. But that doesn't mean that Freeman won't take over by the end of the year.
But I like Case Keenum. I know I did. I mean, it's only 1 week, but I felt like the passing game, passing players, quarterbacks, wide receivers, they dominated yesterday.
Yeah.
Encouraging to see, and just on my own fantasy end, I know I'm going to eat some crow this morning because I made fun of in our league. I made fun of yesterday's opponent for keeping Randall Cobb over Derrick Henry. Mm-hmm. And Randall Cobb went off, obviously, last night. Yeah. We don't know. I had a chance to draft him in probably 2 of my leagues.
Yeah.
I passed on him because of his injury concerns, because they looked like they were trying to shop him. Mm-hmm. And looks like Randall Cobb, after 1 week, was a good keep right now by my friend Bruno. So I'm giving you props, Bruno. You destroyed me yesterday. You destroyed the defending champion, and I gave him praise. I sent him a message yesterday, but
yeah, nice. Yeah, I think Randall Cobb, I accidentally drafted him in one of my leagues, and now that's not looking so bad. And actually, I'm kind of glad because I tried trading him for a quarterback. Remember, this is an offensive position flex league, so I was trying to trade him. I was shopping him for a quarterback, and I'm sort of glad that nobody took any of my offers, because it turns out he might be worth more than that. I kind of mocked my brother in my main league for him keeping Cobb, but now. But actually, I'll say this. I'll just talk about my in my main league. I don't want to talk too much about it, right? But my brother's team. My brother actually he had an interesting strategy because he ended up with a lot of players that individually I was pretty lukewarm on, but the fact that he has all of them, then all of a sudden you're like, man, that's really good for a 16-team league. Like, he ended up with so he's got Melvin Gordon at running back, who's good. He also got Devontae Freeman, which I'm like, yeah, maybe. And then he has Mike Evans and T.Y. Hilton at wide receiver. Both of them, I'm like, maybe. But then, each of them, I'm like, maybe. But then both of them, plus Freeman, plus now he's got Cobb. It's like, oh, man, he did a great job of identifying decent players that nobody else wanted. And now because he has all of them, his team is kind of stacked. He's, really good, deep anyway, not like.
My 2 takeaways on what you just said were at Tampa Bay. I mean, I don't know if Jameis Winston's going to get his job back right away. Honestly, the Saints' defense wasn't not a joke anymore. Fitzpatrick and Evans had some chemistry last year. It looks like that's going to continue. Godwin scored a touchdown. I mean, he had a good little PPR game as well. Actually, he only caught a couple balls, but.
He made one terrific catch, and then I forget what he did for his touchdown catch, but he got a touchdown.
And his touchdown was terrific. Both of his plays were terrific.
That's right. I forgot. So I think Tampa.
Not a lot. I mean, Tampa is going to score some points. I think they said, you know what, Ronald Jones, I think he was a healthy scratch. I think the Buccaneers just abandoned the running game before the game even started. And Fitzpatrick has said, okay, this is going to be on me now. I'm going to probably throw up 50 passes in this game minimum.
But you know what I think that is, though, is I think that – so I was watching that game, flipping back and forth between that and Houston, New England. And there was so much scoring that a lot of it happened so quickly that I missed it. So I missed Godwin's touchdown. But watching that game, it was like Yeah, okay, first of all, I think we were a little bit harsh on Tampa. Like, they're still an NFL team. They're going to compete. They're going to throw and catch some passes and run the ball somewhat, right? But I think what I saw there was it's not like Tampa, even with Jameis, you weren't expecting them to put up 48 points, right? Like this was not just, oh, Tampa's suddenly really good. I think what it had more to do is like New Orleans defense is bound to regress somewhat, and I think Tampa found a wrinkle, found something that they could exploit, and they did. They kept going deep to Deshaun Jackson periodically, and he kept being open. And it's like, I think that 48, what that means is, I think the bigger takeaway from that matchup is that, forget what you think about defenses from last year being good this year and stuff like that, because that fluctuates way more than offenses, I think. And but I think it was like, yeah, Fitzpatrick is good, so I don't think he's a downgrade from Jameis at all. He may be an upgrade. Keep in mind, Ryan Fitzpatrick has games where he can throw 3 interceptions, right? So like, don't expect this every week. I think Tampa they had a good game plan. They found something in game film in New Orleans defense, and they exploited. And they did a really good job of it. I think, and in week 1, when all these teams are kind of rusty and stuff, I think that goes back to your point about like stud receivers dominating and stuff. Because I think in week 1, when you're still sort of implementing the entire playbook, and you're just trying to win a game, and it's like, look, what works. Like if I throw to Julio, he'll catch it. If I throw to Michael Thomas, he'll catch it. If I throw to like whoever, it's like, I think you'll see more sophisticated game plans as the season goes on, and more like even contributions from different parts of the lineup. But I think the important thing is, don't assume defenses from last year are going to be good again this year. Things change. This league is built for offense, and 300 wide receivers are going to be startable in fantasy football every week.
I will say it was nice to see Mike Evans be a real wide receiver one again. I don't think he had a 100-yard game last year. Not even one.
He may not have, but yeah, he did great. He looked great.
Yeah, it was nice to see. I guess one takeaway from yesterday is that I could pull up the video, but I did say I thought that Leonard Fournette would be the first big RB1 to get hurt.
That's right. You did.
That didn't take long.
No, that's yeah, I mean, I guess it wasn't like a bold guess at the time. It was more just bold to say that no, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. It happened.
Right away.
Yeah. Thoughts on Saquon Barkley, or thoughts on that game at all?
Well, so it's funny. The chatter I've been reading on the internet, like on Twitter and stuff, is you have some people saying hey, look at that, he did great. And then you have some people saying, oh, he was bottled up except for one play. And I'm like, well, yeah, that one playability is kind of important. The fact that he can salvage a bad day with an 11-point play with a 50-yard touchdown or something, like, yeah, no, that's good. Don't take that out. Like, every running back, every player is going to look a lot worse if you subtract their best plays. Those best plays count. We're looking for those best plays.
And whoever said that he didn't have a good game, that was just off the box score, because I just looked at all of his carries yesterday and catches. He had a game, actually.
Yeah.
He got pretty much when he got a touch, he got a first down when they needed a first down. He pushed the piles forward pretty much every time. I feel like it was a mandate of his not to do too much dancing. He seemed to plow ahead.
Yeah.
I like on his first carry, Jalen Ramsey was chirping him after on the sideline. I don't know if you saw, but he steamrolled one guy on the way out of bounds to get a first down, and Ramsey was up in his grill right away.
I love it, man. I love Ramsey, and I love everyone that can stand up to Ramsey.
No, he stood up to him. So, like, I think if you're a Saquon Barkley owner, like, you're going to get the big plays. I mean, Barry Sanders had a few, I'm not going to compare too much, but when Barry had a lot of losses for carries sometimes, and then he got that spike when he had that 60-yard run. So I think Saquon is so explosive with his speed and his juking, and he's going to have those big plays. So, like you said, you can't take away the big play from big play players. So
yeah, and the fact that he's somebody who can get something out of nothing, and one play is all it takes to salvage a bad week. And again, all these teams are going to get better over the course of the season, right? And so at some point, Barkley's going to find more room when, and like Beckham was still great, right, in New York, and Sterling Shepard was okay. But at some point when they have Beckham and Shepard and Ingram all being credible threats, and Barkley being a credible threat, like everything will get better. Every player, every team will get better over the course of the season.
I think if you're a Giants fan, you gotta feel good. And they did lose yesterday, but they moved the ball, and Jacksonville is out of the way now. They're off their schedule, so
yeah, they took their lumps against Jacksonville, but they were up for it, and I think they're gonna feel a lot better about playing somebody who's not Jacksonville next week.
We are at the 21-minute mark of our recording. I guess one or two more takeaways. I would love to get your thoughts. I thought the biggest train wreck team that I'm mostly worried about looks like it's going to be the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, that was discouraging. I'm hoping that just the massive weather delays ruined their rhythm, but Mariota got hurt, which is no good. They lost like Delaney Walker and I think a couple of linemen. Yeah. So they kind of, it's trouble. It's trouble. And I have a decent investment in Derrick Henry, so I'm hoping that things change. Dion Lewis looked great, though. Dion Lewis looked really good. I didn't necessarily give him credit for being able to play that large a role, but he did yesterday. I wonder if he'll hold up, but he looked good. While he's there, he looks like he's the man in Tennessee.
Is there another team that you're worried about right off the top of your head that you saw and you're like, oh boy?
Well, I'm trying not to overreact, but I don't know. Let me see. I'm not worried, but I'm like, I have no optimism, no silver lining for Buffalo. I'm like, no, that team is going to be really bad.
I don't think you could start a Bill. Honestly, like I didn't see McCoy's stat line. I barely looked, but I think in the same vein, not that you can compare this, wait and see on Josh Gordon in week 1, but like I don't think I could start a Bill until I see something.
Yeah, I don't think so either. No, LaShawn McCoy, 7 carries for 22 yards, 1 catch for -1 yard.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, and leagues awarded a point for that -1 yard catch because leagues are stupid.
One team I did feel good about was the Bears last night. So you did watch that game. I like the creativity. I like the way they use both of those running backs to their strengths.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like Trubisky, he grew a little bit in terms of his maturity and patience. I feel like he was finding the right guys at the right times.
Yeah, he was playing with a lot of confidence. I felt like there's a difference between last year to this year. Last year he was playing, look at me, I'm learning on the job. And this year he's playing like he's trying to win games, and learn how to win games.
Yeah, I love how Chris Collinsworth mentioned 3 times that he worked out with Jared Goff in the offseason, all offseason.
I don't get it, man. These guys, like, just this boring quarterbacks club. I don't know. They all hang out.
Andy Dalton. If you could pull up Dalton's stat line. So he was the stream of the week this week, obviously.
Yeah.
So I know he threw a touchdown to Green. He threw a touchdown to Ross. Did he?
I got him here 21 for 28, 243 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And AJ Green and John Ross with touchdowns.
That is the textbook definition of a serviceable streaming quarterback right there.
Yeah.
That's that line.
Yeah, but let me ask you this though: Does looking at this box score, can a Bengals box score look much better than this during the course of the season, or did they all just have their best week?
No, I think they peaked because Mixon had a good game too. I think Mixon ran
95 yards and a touchdown on the ground and 54 yards on 5 catches.
Yeah.
AJ Green, 92 yards and a touchdown. Like, John Ross got in the end zone. Like,
tell your Bengals immediately.
I just think that, like, this is an example of, like, this is the best the Bengals will look at any given point. And it's like, it's pretty good. It's not great. You can alternate, Mixon and AJ Green and Eifert and whoever, John Ross having big games, pending Andy Dalton being solid like this, right? That's only going to be half the time at best. And then, I don't know, man. I feel like this might be the best box score we'll see for the Bengals all year. Sell your Bengals.
Sell your Bengals. But any final takes, Mo, from the first week? I mean, the team, your team?
I think overall, just first of all, I hope you won in your leagues. And keep in mind that those of you who did win, it's probably because you were accidentally right about a lot of things as opposed to what you already believed. And if you lost because the things that you think you believed in didn't work out, don't second guess yourself. That's just one of the 16 data points that we have to make our opinions, right? And it's like, you know, like I'm a Stephon Diggs owner, and he had a few catches and a touchdown, but Adam Thielen had a bunch of catches. And like, well, that's one of the games that they're going to have together that helps shape my opinion of Thielen and Diggs. The fact that it happened in week 1 doesn't change the fact that it was going to happen at some point. That doesn't mean that next week Diggs won't have, 140 yards. Who knows?
Finally, the Vikings look like they have a good passing game. It could be, not saying they're Chris Carter and Jake Reed, but it's nice to have these 2 1A and 1 and 1A receivers, 1A, 1B. Sorry, it's early. I've done that.
And especially because they have a quarterback like Cousins who, he can be pretty good. You just hope that he doesn't make mistakes. You don't hope he doesn't shoot himself in the foot, kind of thing. This is a good team for him to not have to do that. Again, if he's a better Case Keenum, that's better, I think, than trying to be a better Kirk Cousins in Minnesota.
Yeah. Anyways, on that note, I think there are 2 more games tonight, so I'm sure a lot of matchups are yet to be determined. So good luck to everyone watching this. Good luck to your teams, especially, for watching this episode.
Yeah. Those of you watching, I hope, even if you're playing against your opponent and you're both, you and your opponent are both watching this, I somehow hope that you both win.
Yeah.
Get that unintangibles bounce. That's what we're looking for.
Exactly. Let us know. And Mo, do you mind taking us out for this?
I'm almost ready.
Week 1 redux.
Yeah. So week 1 is almost in the books, but hope you enjoyed yourselves. Hope you enjoyed. Hey, fantasy football's back, guys. Who else is excited about that? Even if you lost, that's what you sign up for sometimes, right? So anyway, all right, guys. Thank you for joining us on the Unintangibles. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back on Thursday. Hope to see you then.